Let's get right into it. Number 7. How to say no without apologizing to the air molecules. You know that moment when someone asks you for a favor, and before your brain even analyzes the request, your mouth blurts out, "Yeah, sure, totally." Congratulations, you're fluent in people pleaser, an unofficial language powered by guilt, fear of conflict, and an unnatural desire to be liked by everyone, including people you don't even like. Learning to say no is less about the word and more about rewiring your internal customer service representative, the one who thinks you must always be available, helpful, and emotionally absorbent. You're not a human sponge. You're allowed to decline things without delivering a TED Talk apology tour. The psychology here is simple. Your brain is hardwired to avoid rejection because, historically, being excluded meant getting eaten by wolves. But guess what? There are no wolves at Karen's birthday dinner. You can say no to attending a 4-hour pottery workshop without being expelled from the tribe. Start small. Practice tiny refusals like "no, I can't," or "that won't work for me," instead of the classic 85-word justification speech. Notice how the world doesn't implode. No lightning bolts. No angry mobs. Just you. Reclaiming time you'll probably use to stare at your phone still worth it. Saying no is the grown-up version of discovering cheat codes. Suddenly you have time, boundaries, and dignity. Use them wisely. Number 6. Managing money without crying. Picture opening your bank app and squinting like you're disarming a bomb. It's okay, most people's financial system is just hoping things work out and avoiding the numbers until tax season forces a confrontation. But learning to manage money is one of the highest leverage life skills you can acquire. And no, it doesn't require becoming an accountant or memorizing stock charts like you're prepping for a finance-themed game show. The psychology behind money management is mostly about emotional regulation. Spending gives your brain a quick hit of dopamine, tiny fireworks that make you forget the consequences. Saving gives you nothing, at least not immediately. It's like eating vegetables while your impulses scream for cake. Your brain has the time horizon of a toddler. So, the trick is creating systems that protect you from your own impulses. Automatic transfers, budget categories, a "do not touch this unless aliens invade emergency fund." When you automate things, you bypass the emotional tug-of-war entirely. Your future self stops hating you. Your present self feels competent. Everybody wins. Once you learn the basics, what's coming in, what's going out, and what needs to be put away, money stops being a monster under the bed. It becomes a tool, a controlled tool, like scissors, or emotional boundaries. And the best part? Being financially competent makes your anxiety plummet. Suddenly, you aren't haunted by the ghost of, "what if?" because you actually know the answer. And it's not nearly as scary as you assumed. Number 5. Fixing small problems before they become big ones. There's a universal human habit: ignoring small issues until they evolve into full-blown disasters. The squeaky hinge you don't oil becomes a door that sounds like it's summoning spirits. The tiny task you put off becomes a mountainous to-do list. The weird feeling you ignore becomes a meltdown at 3 a.m. It's not laziness, it's psychology. Your brain is wired to avoid discomfort now, even if it means more discomfort later. Future you is basically a stranger as far as your brain is concerned, so it hands them all the chores, hoping they'll magically be a better person. But learning to handle small problems early is like installing a shock absorber for your entire life. It prevents chaos from snowballing, it gives you control, and it teaches your brain that small effort now feels better than monster problem later. Also, solving small issues gives you tiny bursts of reward chemistry, little psychological high fives. Your brain loves wins, even microscopic ones. Fixing a loose screw, responding to a short email, wiping a countertop, taking 2 minutes to refold the blanket gremlin you call a laundry pile, it all matters more than it feels like it does. When you build this habit, your life stops being a series of avoidable emergencies. You become the person who quietly prevents disaster instead of the person constantly recovering from it, which is huge. Like spaceship-level huge. Because ultimately, your life is just a series of small things pretending to be insignificant. Handle them early, and you basically hack your future. Number 4. Cooking without panic. There's a specific kind of fear that hits when you're standing in the kitchen, staring at a raw chicken breast like it's a ticking explosive. You know, cooking is supposed to be simple. Humans have been doing it for thousands of years, but your brain is convinced you're one wrong move away from summoning the food poisoning demon. Learning to cook isn't about becoming a chef. It's about understanding heat, timing, and the fact that most ingredients aren't out to kill you. Your senses are built for this. Your nose will absolutely tell you when something is wrong. Your eyes will show you when something is burning. Your ears will alert you when your pan suddenly starts making sounds normally reserved for lightning storms. The psychology is pretty cool. Cooking gives your brain predictable rewards. Chop, sizzle, season, the sequence is grounding. It's basically edible therapy. When you cook, you control the environment. You make something from nothing, and your brain loves that sense of agency. It's why people stress bake cookies at midnight like they're trying to bribe their own emotions. Start with basics. Heat pan. Add oil. Don't touch it for a second. Let the food do its thing. You're not wrestling the ingredients, you're just guiding them. Once you learn to cook a few simple meals, you unlock a survival skill that reduces stress, saves money, and dramatically lowers your odds of becoming a DoorDash-dependent goblin. Plus, nothing boosts confidence like feeding yourself something that didn't come from a drive-through window. Number 3. Maintaining friendships like a grown human. Friendships don't fall apart because of dramatic betrayals. They fall apart because nobody texts first. Suddenly, months pass, and you're in that awkward, "Are we still friends? Or do I just follow your dog on Instagram now?" limbo. The wild part? Most people assume their friends are too busy, too uninterested, or too whatever to reconnect. But that's just your insecurity doing bad improv. The psychology here is simple. People like feeling chosen. Reaching out even with something small like, "I saw this and thought of you," lights up the part of the brain that handles social bonding. It's like giving someone a tiny, emotional espresso shot. Maintaining friendships requires intention, not constant communication. Check-ins, shared jokes, sending a weird meme at 2 p.m. These microscopic actions act like the glue keeping relationships from dissolving in slow motion. But you also have to be honest when something's off. Adults avoid these conversations like they're being asked to wrestle a bear, but naming small issues prevents big blow-ups. "Hey, I felt weird after that conversation, can we talk about it?" is not the end of the world, it's actually the beginning of healthier dynamics. Friendship maintenance isn't dramatic, it's not movie-level loyalty quests, it's tiny, consistent acts of effort. If you treat friendships like living things, things that need light, attention, and occasional emotional watering, they grow. If you don't, they gently wither until they're basically a polite ghost. And nobody needs more ghosts. Number 2. Repairing your own stress response. Your stress response is basically an over-caffeinated intern who hits the panic button the second anything unexpected happens. Running late? Panic. Email from boss? Panic. Can't find your left sock? Full apocalypse. It's exhausting. But repairing your stress response is a skill everyone can and should learn. Think of your stress system as a smoke detector with a terrible personality. It goes off for burnt toast, warm showers, emotional memories from 2014 anything. But the key is retraining it. Stress comes from your body thinking there's danger. If you teach your body that most situations are not, in fact, mortal threats, your stress response calms down. One trick is grounding, focusing on physical sensations so your brain stops launching imaginary disasters. Notice what you see, feel, smell, breathe slower on purpose. Tell your nervous system, "Hey, we're actually fine." Your brain listens to your body more than your thoughts, which is why calming your breath works better than yelling, "Stop freaking out," inside your head. Another trick is breaking your catastrophizing loop. When your brain jumps to worst-case scenarios, question it like you're interviewing a suspicious raccoon. What evidence do you have? Usually none. Your stress was just bored and wanted attention. Rebuilding your stress response won't turn you into a Zen master floating above your problems, but it will stop your internal alarms from shrieking every time life pokes you with a mildly inconvenient stick. And that alone is a quality of life upgrade. Number 1. Learning how to think, instead of react. Imagine your brain as a toddler with car keys. It can technically drive your decisions, but should it? Absolutely not. Yet most people spend their lives reacting, instead of thinking. Someone annoys you, you snap. A problem pops up, you panic. A challenge appears, you assume doom. It's instinctive, automatic, and deeply unhelpful. Learning to think is the ultimate skill, because it gives you actual control over your choices, instead of letting emotions hijack the wheel. Thinking doesn't mean overthinking. It means giving your brain a half-second of space between stimulus and response. That tiny pause is where logic, creativity, and actual wisdom live. Psychologists call this metacognition, thinking about your thinking. It's your brain going, hold on, do we actually believe this thought? Do we actually need to react like this? Or is this just leftover emotional baggage cosplaying as reality? When you question your initial reaction, you stop letting fear, insecurity, and habit run your life on autopilot. Thinking clearly also helps you solve problems faster. Your brain stops spiraling and starts analyzing. Instead of, this is terrible, it becomes, what are 3 realistic options? Instead of, everything is ruined, it becomes, what's the smallest action I can take right now? This shift turns chaos into something manageable, sometimes even fixable. The best part, once you build this habit, people start seeing you as calm, capable, grounded. Not because you never feel stress or fear, but because you don't let those feelings steer the ship. You actually think. And that, weirdly enough, is a superpower most adults never learn. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.